Last Blood was inspired by the previous year, 1982's, First Blood. Although Last Blood would resemble 1985's Rambo First Blood Part 2 more so. I actually have videos on the 4 Rambo features, Christ almighty, and I actually commented on, during the Rambo First Blood Part 2 video, it seems as though the Italian knockoffs came full circle back into Hollywood. George Cosmatos, of course, famed for these Euro war action films, before getting his break in Hollywood with Of Unknown Origin with Peter Weller, which is actually quite a good film. I'll talk about that one day. Anyway, so Cosmatos, Rambo 2, and then Rambo 2 was like an extremely influential action film, and that was kind of the mold of the run and gun, big muscle bound, because that's Schwarzenegger's Commando was stolen from that, more or less. I find it hard to believe that they came up with the idea first. Maybe they were, And then, of course, the other influential action film across time was the John McTiernan Die Hard formula, although it wasn't a kind of slightly classier, but not necessarily, because you do get Under Siege and shit out of it, Die Hard formula. That's the Rambo 2/Commando formula. Which is to say, the Italian knockoff wound up becoming, like their food, their takeaway anyway, the Italians knew how to just get the essence of what Americans wanted, and so they put it in TV dinner/direct-to-DVD form. There's not much to say about The Last Blood other than that. It's kind of fun. What does Edoardo Margheriti have to say about this? Third chapter of what is called Margheriti's War Trilogy in the book dedicated to him by Fabiano Giovannini, Danze Macabre, Il Cinema de Antonio Daisies. I love that there's a book on Margheriti. That's fascinating. I assume it hasn't been translated into English, unfortunately. No, it's remarkable who gets books written about them. It's remarkable who gets documentaries about them. There's a documentary about William Greff, the director of Mako and the You Shark Lover movie, and what's that other one, like Whiskey Mountain? There's the great film that William Greff directed is, you gotta see this. You gotta see Bill Shatner in Impulse, because that's the one time Shatner was playing a character who, allegedly Shatner himself, wore a toupee. Yeah. Dense meta film. He's a murderer in that film. Yeah, that's why you got to go see it. You want to see Shatner as a murderer, don't you? It's 74. You'll like it. Anyway, the 3 films in this Margheriti War Trilogy in question are The Last Hunter 1980, Escape from the Cursed Archipelago 1981. Oh, you know that as Tiger Joe, and Tornado 1983. All produced... Tornado's Last Blood, excuse me. It seems to be called Tornado, but I wanted to call it Last Blood so I could make the point in comparison to Rambo 2. You understand. All produced by John Franco. Oh, this chap. COUJOUMDJIAN. I'm not going to bother with that. I don't... I tried. If you want to see me try to pronounce that, check one of the earlier videos of one of these last few Margheriti films. The first 2 for Flora Film, the third with his own new company. The alliance between Antonio and the producer lasted for almost 10 years, bringing to fruition 8 films full of action, fun, and effects special. Google Translate's wonderful, isn't it? Shot also in the Philippines. It's amazing Coppola had such a hard time, and these guys were... Well, not always, unfortunately. There was the Riccardo Palatini accident at the end of the Tiger Joe. Let's not dwell on that too long. Rest in peace, Ricardo. Shot also in the Philippines, the film tells the story of a different Vietnam, close to the defeat, with a tired and demotivated US Army and a captain now in the grip of madness that he fights his own personal war, sending to the slaughter of his soldiers. But he will be thwarted and defeated by a sergeant who rebels and flees the field, becoming prey to both the Viet Cong, then American soldiers, but hunter of his real enemy. Inspired from Ted's first Rambo, Kotcheff, and The Hunter by Michael Cimino, is a tough film which it tackles the subject of war in a crude way, making profound accusations and imperious messages to the public, everything however skillfully mixed with special effects and action scenes in the style of Antonio Margheriti. Instead of the muscular and invincible soldier played by Sylvester Stallone, Antonio chooses a more introverted character, more human and melancholic, and reflective characteristics, but still a combatant. Well, of course, you were miming the first Rambo film, not the second. Timothy is cast in the role Brent, the very Italian Giancarlo Prete, which renders it very realistic and excellently interpreted. That's from Eduardo Daisies. I'm not making a joke. Google translated Margheriti to Daisies a couple times here. Unless it's a joke in the original Italian text, I don't know. This is we're over 5.5 minutes, getting to 6 minutes. We don't need to talk about Last Blood for any longer than we have to. Thanks again, everyone. Appreciate it very, very immensely. Thank you.